Hello, my name is Chad Ray. I'm a multidiscipline artist from Austin, Texas, and I'm here in San Antonio at Presa House Gallery, and this is The Gun Show. All right, as we enter into this main entryway, we see two pieces. The first one on the right is called American Flag, and it's in reference to a lot of the response to mass shootings from politicians, which is thoughts and prayers. And so essentially every time the trigger is pulled, this response comes out. Across from that is this series of photographs modeled after family portraitures. They're titled My Own Little Private World Media Deprivation Pullovers, almost as if they're products that people can buy to remain in their own little world, their own bubble, and ignore simply what's going on in the media and the world around them. As we walk into the largest room here, the first thing you see is a body bag on the floor with a series of logos, and upon closer look, we see that they're gun manufacturer logos, and it's in reference to a lot of conversation around how much responsibility lies on the gun manufacturers, and the death toll that happens because of them. Above that, we see a series of kind of folk art type paintings that reference different language that's been part of the common culture. Control the population is one of these phrases that you might hear. So these pieces here, hold your fire, is a phrase that we hear when people say, stop shooting. And then compared with this phrase that we hear, you can take my gun from my cold, dead hands. So contrasting those two phrases. Below it, never again, again. Never again is a hashtag that I see a lot on social media, urging people to stop this trend of gun violence, but we see it with so much regularity. It's, I would like to see it. I would like to see the never again part, never again. Moving on to this room here, it's all about hunting, really, and everything from the lessons that we teach our kids as young hunters or young killers, and the value of life, and the fact that, these young impressionable minds grow up to adults, and the fact that killing is a rite of passage for many people, or, this question of who is actually the animal, the hunter or the animal. Moving along the room, this piece here is titled 18 Ages and Up. It features an AR-15, which is the common weapon of choice for many mass shooters, and sort of turning the barrel back on itself. Next to that, we have some actual police training targets. They're identical. The payoff really comes in the title, with good guy with a gun and bad guy with a gun. An argument that many gun rights activists have about, good guys kill bad guys, but how can you tell the difference? Moving to this next wall, more found objects around romantic relationships, including those relationships with people's guns. We have some wedding photography, invitations with phrases like natural born killers and in sickness, which is pulled from, a lot of marriage scripts, in sickness and in health. Here to the right of that are screenshots of dating profiles where people are happily posing with their guns, as if that is attractive. All right, moving into this back room here, the first thing you'll notice in the center of the room is this bag of bullets. Those are also AR-15 shells. There's roughly 4,200 in there. No real significance behind the number. However, the clear backpack is in reference to Parkland and the shootings that occurred there. One of the solutions that a lot of school districts had come up with to solve this problem of people bringing guns into schools was to have them all carry clear backpacks, as if that was a viable solution to the problem. And the weight of this backpack itself, it's super heavy. I've never actually weighed it, but it's difficult for one person to hold this with two arms. And if you can imagine a young student having to carry these clear backpacks as a reminder of what not only happened in Parkland, but what could potentially happen to them at their school. And as you start to look around the room, you see some black and white photos, also found photography with some phrases that, this sort of combination or juxtaposition of something that is very sort of happy and, leading in contrast with this photo. I mean, I think the commonality that you'll find in all these photos is the eyes. That was something that really drew me. There's something very disturbing about the individual's eyes. They're clearly mentally disturbed. Mental health is certainly a component of gun, or I should say mass shootings. And so we can't not address mental health issues. It's not simply, putting regulations or taking guns away as, certain gun rights activists might propose, but, mental health is certainly a component. And as you see the faces of all of these young white males, they're clearly dealing with something very, very challenging. All right, now we're walking into one of the back rooms. In this corner here, more found photography. It says "You'll shoot your eye out," which comes from A Christmas Story, that movie, and the parents' warning or reason for not buying your kid a gun, and the image is that of Kurt Cobain post-suicide. To the right of that is the first piece that I created in the series called "Bump Stocks Are Up," and that is in reference to legislation regarding the banning of bump stocks. To the right of that is a triptych featuring these black and white ghostly or ghastly expressions, if you will, of these faces. The one here in the middle could indicate somebody being shot or blood being spattered across all three of these faces. And it's titled "Apathy is a Spectator Sport." This piece here is a 5-foot sports trophy, very over the top Americana. At the very top, we see someone holding a shotgun, lots of flags. It's a first place trophy. And as you sort of work your way down the trophy, you see, what's this for? Number 1 in mass shootings. These pieces here are cap guns that have been retrofitted into lollipops for children. They're called pistol pops. And it's promoted here to have real metal taste. So if you can imagine children putting these gun barrels in their mouth and having to open their mouth really wide for the lollipop. Moving into the final room, the first thing we see is this acrylic podium. If you take a closer look, we see that on top of the altar is a Bible with a cutout that features a handgun. This is really a book safe. This is an actual thing that people will cut out areas in their books for handguns to hide them in the home, and is a reference to how many people will hide behind religion or faith, yet still feel a need for weapons to protect themselves. And this piece is called God Help Us. Over here in this final corner, we have a 3D printer printing handguns, and it's a reference to the fact that you can find plans on the internet for gun pieces to build your own plastic gun, which can evade metal detectors. This piece here on the wall is titled "The Bus Stops Here," and is fashioned after an actual bus sign that I found that was shot up by bullets. And in the context of what's happening in the world today, it's pretty ironic that they chose a school sign. So that is also where I'll stop in this tour of the gun show at Presa House in San Antonio. Thank you so much for hanging out and going through the show with me. If you'd like to know more about me or follow me on Instagram, you can go to Chad Rea, R-E-A is the last name, or chadray.com. There's always amazing things happening at Presa House Gallery. I invite you to follow them as well on Instagram and go to their website for updates and all kinds of great things. So thanks for supporting the arts. Thanks for fighting the good fight, whatever it is that you believe in. And for you artists out there, keep making art. Thank you.